Hello, welcome at another tutorial where we're going to discuss your first deployment. Once you train a model and you're fully happy, or you just want to deploy directly a pre-trained model from visionplatform.ai, you go to the deployment screen here on the left side. We are going to add and deploy a model. You get into a nice stepper, which completely walks you through from step 1 to 6. And on step 1, we have to select our model. You see here the color is orange, and it means that it's a pre-trained model. So that means that I selected a pre-trained algorithm from Vision Platform, but I have not improved it with my own data. V3 has been trained, and V4 and V6. So I assume in this particular case that V6 is with the latest data. So let's pick this one. Into the next step, we can see our compute. As we support NVIDIA Jetsons, but also any desktop with an NVIDIA GPU and CUDA installed, you can add devices through our deployment stepper. You can find the manual on the top, or you can watch the tutorial about how to set up your device. You can do mass deployments in this particular way. So I want to have gas station A, gas station B, or warehouse A, warehouse B. You can select multiple of them and it will load all the cameras that are connected to that particular hardware device. You can also update your Edge client or see at what version you are. So on the right side, you see that this Jetson is up to date with our latest version of the Edge client. If there's a new version available, you'll see a nice button here that you can press and everything will automatically update. Let's pick this Jetson for our example deployment. In the camera stream, you see all the cameras connected to this Jetson. Some appear to be offline because we took out the cables, others are online. So in this way, you can select that. To add a camera stream, press the button and you can enter a name, for example, building office, and you enter the RTSP URL or your USB device path. If you have a USB camera connected to the Jetson, enter this link in this field. Otherwise, just copy paste the RTSP URL. If you're a Milestone client, you can import your camera streams completely automatically. You have installed your NVIDIA AI Bridge, which is provided by Milestone, and you enter the URL here. Once you enter the URL, you will see a screen with all cameras connected to the Milestone VMS X-Protect system, and you can just import them with one click. Once that import is done, you'll see here on the top that the cameras imported from Milestone will have a separate Milestone logo, so you can identify them. All the cameras are sorted on alphabet, so you can easily find them back. Let's make a deployment on this camera. In the business logic screen, you can have count objects or detect objects. When you have count objects, you can draw a region of interest by pressing the button, add a count, we have a person, and only if there are more than 5 people, then make an alert. When you do detect objects, and that is in this particular case, we want to count the amount of people that walk through the door, collect metadata. We don't need any videos because it's just JSON files that we collect. And we make a region of interest because we want to have an alert if there is a robbery. So we detect persons, we make a group. You can select with or without. So a person with a gun, with a weapon, and then alert on enter. Add object gives you the option to choose and or. So I want to see a person make a group without a weapon, or I can say and then do with. So this logic is of course not completely, this doesn't really completely make sense, but you get the point that with and without and or, you can make any logic you want. To take it even a next step further, we have alert on enter, which is always default put on yes. If I click this, you come into the screen where you can select a dwell time. So let's say you have a use case with people dwelling at emergency exits or cars that are parked in the wrong way. You don't want to get an alert if just a person or a car walks or passes by. You want to have an alert if persons or cars are dwelling certain location. So I can say 30 seconds. So that means that if the AI is seeing a person with a gun, then it will only make an alert after 30 seconds. I would not recommend this, by the way. What is also an option is that you make an extra ROI and you use alert on exit. In many cases, people want to be alerted the moment the danger is over. So you can have a region of interest for a person to have an alert on entry, but you can then also have an alert if the object or the person in this particular case leaves the region of interest. So you get 2 alerts. Another option is extract text. It's always default on no. And I have to have alert on enter for that. And if I extract text, I can enable that. Now, persons we don't want to extract text on, gun we want. So that means any detection of a gun will also be sent to an optical character recognition algorithm. We call that OCR, and you will get a result. Super easy for license plate recognition, but for example also in manufacturing locations where you want to read certain text. This is the most important screen when you make a deployment. You have to think very carefully how you want to create triggers, alerts, metadata, and how you want to use this. We can add an email alert and we can add include labeled video. Especially if you are using Vision Platform event browser, it's very useful to include the labeled video because then you can really see where the AI is making detections and where not. And this is very useful for adding the original video back to your dataset. We can enable live inference. That means that on the screen attached to your compute, you get a live pop-up. It's very important that the screen is connected. If you disconnect the screen and you still have this option on, then the app will pause. So this is purely for demo reasons or maybe testing reasons that you can enable this. Before you make your deployment, please follow the small text that is written here. You have to type one command in the terminal. So, okay, we've set up our business logic for people walking through the door. Just make an alert, and in case there is a person with a gun, we want a detection after 30 seconds. We want to send the gun to an OCR algorithm. We want to have an email alert, upload a video, and upload a label video. Let's go to the integrations. In Vision Platform, by default, you are pushing events, if you switch that on, to our cloud platform. This is something which you can turn on and off to your liking. If you turn this off, it means that no connection to the internet will be made in terms of data that is sent elsewhere. You can have a custom API endpoint where you fill in your endpoint that you made. It's a REST API, which you can test if you fill in a URL, or if you have the Milestone AI bridge installed, you again fill in the URL that you retrieved from Milestone. If this is enabled and this is not, then nothing will be sent to the cloud. It will all stay on premise, and you can disconnect or you can protect your server from any internet connection from the outside. Obviously, if you want to manage your deployments, our platform should be able to communicate to the compute. So if you temporarily set it up to be able to do that and then protect it from outside environment, then it will completely run offline. Let's enable Vision Platform by default, and we can set the confidence setting. Now, our people detection algorithm is very good, so I'll put it at 0.8, but for weapons, I do not really want to take a risk. Also, I want to collect some data, because if the AI is making detections at 0.3, 0.4, I don't really mind, but at 0.5 and 0.6, if it's a false detection, I would like to add that back to my data set in order to improve my algorithm. So I'll keep that nice at 0.5. Video duration, 10 seconds, that's more than enough. You can go all the way to 60, up to you. I would recommend to keep it a little bit low, because in the end you'll get an alarm anyway. And if you use Vision Platform as a default, you can have the face and the license plate blur for GDPR reasons. We can also set the email alert, because we've engaged that in the business logic. And at custom, you can select a user. So I want to get all the alerts myself. And I want to have a schedule on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. On Sunday, the gas station is closed. You can play with your different times, and therefore you get only alerts when it truly matters, and you do not get spammed during office hours, for example. This is it. 10 minutes, 45 seconds. You deployed your first AI algorithm. We trained V6. We have our compute. We have our camera streams. We have our business logic, and we have our integrations fully set up. We press deploy, and this whole pipeline is being shipped to your Jetson or to your server, and everything is gonna run. This is how easy it is. And go to Milestone or go to events, set up your deployment, and you're all set. Okay, thank you very much, and see you at the next one.